Missouri, it'd be a great thing. And let's do something besides tax credits. How about we legalize some stuff that should be legal anyway? And as far as trying to figure out which is which, you know, when I was stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, Big Red 1, we went on bivouac out in the field, and the stuff was growing there naturally from when the federal government grew it. Hemp has I'm sure you've probably heard, has a huge history in America. It was something that was grown during the founding of this nation. The sails on ships, the rope, it was as big a cash crop as tobacco at that time, sometimes even more important. It was an incredible crop. And again, as far as telling the difference between this stuff, honestly, if you're in law enforcement and you can't tell the difference between the two, you probably don't need to be carrying a gun. That's all I have. I wish you'd support HB830.
Questions for the witness? Representative Beard.
Now, that was one question I had. I mean, this bill says you can't be a convicted felon and you got to have a license to grow it. So, I mean, to me, those are red flags. What in the world? Why are we putting all this restriction on it?
Well, you know,
why they did that?
I don't know 100% the sponsor's intent there, but I would bet that it is, you know, unfortunately, so many times in politics, we have to try to get something through. We have to compromise a lot, or make some sort of a wager with somebody else. You know, if you put this little proviso in there, I'll support it. You know, I really don't know why. Otherwise, I don't believe any of that stuff should be there. I think you should just be able to.
Do you know who he's compromising with? The other side is?
You know, I know that there's a lot of individuals in the synthetic fabrics market that would probably love to see hemp continue to be not grown. Now, that was my understanding, part of the reason why it was classified to not be grown without a bunch of regulation to begin with. So maybe those folks are. I'm not really sure. I don't know if law enforcement is concerned about it coming in. I don't really know who would be concerned about it, but I'd imagine they put it in there for somebody. You'd have to ask the sponsor for sure. But.
Thanks.
Further questions for the witness?
Thank you, and I gave Representative Kirkman my witness form.
Well, we will recover it. Thank you. Next witness.
Good afternoon, almost evening. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on behalf of House Bill 830. My name is Tom Smith. I'm a lifelong resident of Missouri. I've lived in Columbia since the late 80s, where I've started and operated a number of businesses. The first, a software development company called DataStorm Technologies, grew from 2 friends in an apartment to over 350 employees in less than 10 years. The second, Flat Branch Public Brewing, where I wish we all were right now, opened as Columbia's first brew pub in 1994 and is about to celebrate its 21st anniversary. I have a number of other various business interests, including approximately 2,400 acres of rural land in northern Montauk and southern Cooper counties. So before I go to my prepared statements, I'd like to add to the confusion about these two plants. Hemp and marijuana are the same plant. They're cannabis sativa. They are different varieties of that plant. Just like there's dozens or hundreds of kinds of apples, if you take a clone off a Granny Smith, you're going to get a Granny Smith. You're not going to get a Red Delicious. Okay, they're totally separate. If you start with a hemp seed, you're going to get a hemp plant. If you're trying to get medical or recreational marijuana, you have to start with a seed that has those characteristics. The primary difference between those being the level of THC in the variety, which is the stuff that people want to smoke in order to get high. These questions of height have primarily to do with what you're trying to get out of that hemp, if you're growing it primarily for fiber or for the seed for oil. Moving on, I wholeheartedly support HB 830, and if it were enacted, I would apply to be a hemp grower and possibly a hemp seed supplier as well. I'm also interested in investing in potential hemp processing and production businesses here in Missouri. Hemp cultivation is a natural for Missouri given our climate and soils. As you know, our state was a large hemp producer before the onset of Prohibition. Hemp is a fast-growing plant that can produce 8-foot or greater fibers in a 60 to 90-day grow cycle. and it can produce grain in 110 or 150 days. On an annual basis, 1 acre of hemp will produce as much paper as 2 to 4 acres of trees, or as much fiber as 2 to 3 acres of cotton. It does this using less water than cotton and requires no pesticides or herbicides and only moderate amounts of fertilizer. The plant has numerous uses. The seed and oil from the seed can be used as food, animal feed, in body care products, lubricants, paints, ink, and as fuel. Hemp seeds can even be used in the brewing of beer, which is something we'd like to try at Flatbridge. The main hemp plant is known for its fiber, which also has a host of applications. From tissue paper to cardboard, all kinds of paper products can be produced from hemp. Hemp fiber can also be used for textiles, building materials, in plastics and composite materials, and shows great promise in biofuel and biomass applications. Hemp would be valuable as a conservation tool as well, with potential for restoring marginal or mined out soil, sequestering CO2, and providing feed for Missouri bird species if you're a bird watcher like I am. It can also be used to clear unwanted substances or chemicals from water or soil, as seen at the Chernobyl nuclear disaster site where hemp is being used for that purpose. We have an opportunity for Missouri to take the lead in the development of hemp cultivation practices and equipment. Due to decades of prohibition, the United States lacks expertise in modern methods of hemp cultivation and production, some of which require specific harvesting and processing machinery. Developing the knowledge and the industrial base to support an emerging hemp market could provide additional ancillary market opportunities for Missourians. While HB830 does not address research on the plant or support for the Missouri farmers who want to grow it, I am aware of interest in providing hemp research by the College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources at Mizzou at both the administrative and the faculty levels. We should not be letting competing states such as Kentucky get too far ahead of Missouri in developing this new industry. To conclude, it's clear to me that Missouri farmers and landowners would benefit by having this flexible plant as an option in their toolbox, and that Missouri would benefit by the additional industry and economic activity. I urge you to approve this bill for consideration by the full Missouri House. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Questions for the witness? Seeing none, appreciate your testimony.
It's on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Steve Hunter, former legislator. I graduated from this body in 2008. It's the only place I know where you can go to high school for 4 years, college for 4 years. It takes 8 to get out of this place. But, this is something that I've thought we should have done for 20 years. I grew up on a farm. I just inherited part of a farm. I've got 120 acres and I'd like to grow hemp. I've talked to several farmers in the area and just, you know, they don't know much about it, but there's some things you need to know about what's going on in the farm economy. Corn's off, it was about $8, about $4. Wheat was up about $7, it's about $5 now. Soybeans were 15, they're 10. Hogs, we don't even raise those anymore. The Chinese took them all. In Iowa, actually, they're starting to grow hogs while the prices are down. Cattle have come off. So you're sitting out there as a farmer and say, where do I go? Well, one thing about it gives them another crop to be able to grow. The other thing it does, it grows well on marginal ground. There's a thing called CRP where we're paying farmers $150 an acre not to grow a thing. You know, we got a lot of cedar trees out there. That'd be great to get them off of that and get them to growing something they can make some money. So now the other thing is that I've talked to several farmers and eco-devo people, it's just up in a small area up in there. In the rural areas, and a lot of you folks can relate to this, there's a lot of buildings that used to have industry in them that are just closed down. And you're talking about hempcrete right there, that product right there alone, concrete's about 120, well, around 120, it's about 100 now, it's come down. So it's only about 2 companies that own it in the world. They control the whole market. Now, probably would have some capital cronyism if it's ever got to going because it caused them to compete with the hempcrete market. It's high in insulation properties, which concrete isn't, and it's locally grown. So let's just say, for example, down in your area, that someone starts growing, someone says, well, I think I'm gonna come into the state of Missouri and I'm gonna start making hemp creek blocks and bricks. I mean, that's just one little thing. You know, I've been around, I came here in 2000. I came in when Bob Holden was in, and I'll go clear across the border, Republican and Democrat. He had no plan for economic development. I don't know that Matt Blunt ever did. I don't see that anything that's happening right now is this committee and the committee over in the Senate can get a hold of something, I think, with this and take over an entire market. This market is about, and I talked with